Hello and welcome to the next in my series about permaculture design, ethics and principles. Today we're having a think about applying self-regulation and accepting feedback. The icon for today is the planet Earth, and the reason for that is this is probably our biggest example of a self-regulating complex system that's subject to feedback loops and controls. And the saying that goes with this today is the sins of the fathers are visited on the children unto the seventh generation. Wow, and that's a reminder that some of these feedbacks in big complex systems take a while to actually emerge, to become apparent to us so that we can actually see them happening. It's not always immediate. I struggle a little bit with the notion of sin, and I think actually there's something in this about our beneficial actions also, that sometimes we don't see the results of those, we don't get feedback from those immediately either. And I'm reminded of work that I've done over the years in health and social care and youth work and things, working with people who might have had quite complex needs. And sometimes the benefit of what we've done in those kinds of jobs is not immediately apparent. It is literally like sowing seeds. And some of those seeds take a long time to germinate. It could be weeks, it could be months. In some cases, it's years. So there's something in here about kind of trusting the process really, and knowing that there will be feedback even if we don't see it immediately. So this principle is asking us essentially to get to grips with the idea of systems, and that we are elements within systems, and that our behaviour has an impact. So therefore we need to regulate ourselves, not rely on external things, rules and laws and regulations. I'm not saying we don't need those, but these principles of design are asking us to do that for ourselves. Go back to this: observe and interact. Observe ourselves, observe the systems that we work in, and then our impact on them, and regulate ourselves accordingly. It sort of seems a bit counterintuitive in a sense, but when we limit our own selves, so that we're not taking more out of a system then it can generate or regenerate for itself under its own steam. What we allow that system to do is then become abundant. Things emerge, emergent qualities come through. And of course, I can think about that in terms of our biosphere. There's something called World Overshoot Day, which this year was on the 1st of August. It's the moment in the year where we've used up as much as the planet can regenerate in a year. And we hit that on the 1st of August, so now we're in overshoot. But it equally applies to systems like our own bodies. It applies to systems like our families, like our workplaces. If we don't take out more than those systems can regenerate, we allow them to become abundant, and actually then we still reap the benefits. So it sounds counterintuitive, but limiting ourselves allows wider systems to become abundant, and then we still benefit through that process. It's quite amazing. Feedback's an interesting idea, isn't it, really? I think we quite often don't give it or receive it well. There are some skills involved in giving feedback if we are doing this sort of verbally, if we're giving feedback to another person. And I think it's important that that's done authentically, and it's done with honesty, and it's done from a place of intention to connect with another person, so that everyone can have their needs met. Not with the intention to put someone down or humiliate them, or the intention is really crucial. And there are some skills involved in that communication, and that links very much to the work I do around compassionate communication and solution focus. So those things I think are linked together. We often, I think, see feedback as criticism. What it really is at heart is an expression of someone's perception of our impact in the world. That ideally, that's what it is, that's what it should be communicating. But quite often we hear feedback as criticism of ourselves. That's kind of links to our own internal script, really. And while criticism we can feel uncomfortable about that, we're actually often, many of us, uncomfortable with compliments as well. Simple stuff like somebody just says, "Oh, that's a nice shirt you're wearing today," and we sort of bat it back. "Oh, it's just some old rag. I've had it for ages." We don't actually accept compliment very well either. So this accepting feedback is kind of covering both of those things. It's all feedback, positive and negative, really. So yeah, there's a really interesting book. This idea of systems thinking, I think, is really, really crucial. Permaculture is rooted in the idea of thinking in systems and designing in systems. There's a woman called Donella Meadows who's written some fantastic work around that, and I'd really encourage you to have a look at that work. There's lots in there about this idea of feedback being about balancing systems or perhaps about reinforcing things. So there's an example of a balancing feedback would be a thermostat in a room. So the temperature might go up and down, but the thermostat, as part of that system, is designed to kind of level things out. Cool it when it's hot, heat it up when it's cool, etc. A reinforcing feedback loop might be something, a simple example would be you put money in a bank, you get interest, now you've got more money, then you get more interest, then there's more money, then you get more interest. So that's a feedback that is reinforcing and not balancing. Really crucial, and once you start looking at things as systems and thinking systemically, the whole world kind of changes, actually. It's really interesting. So I'd encourage you to have a think about that. That's probably enough for today. Next time we're going to have a think about patterns. Okay, so I look forward to speaking to you again next week. Bye for now.